Hey, what's up everybody? I'm Justin with AmericanMuscle.com and welcome to our best of video for the Flywheel category, available for that 1999 to 2004 Mustang GT. As always, the purpose of these best of videos is to give you 3 options that we really like here on the site, in this case ranging from heaviest to lightest, using our experience gained over the years here in the aftermarket, in addition to factoring in some customer feedback and popularity as well. As always guys, if you're not exactly in love with any of our picks in this video, that's totally cool. In fact, we do encourage you to check out the rest of our selection here at AM. But why replace that flywheel in the first place? Well, chances are the clutch in that new Edge Mustang is either dead or on the way out, so therefore it's time to start looking for a replacement. Now, a lot of times when guys are shopping for a new clutch, it also makes sense to replace the flywheel at the same time because you're going to be in there doing the work and it's only going to guarantee proper fitment and operation, but some improvements in your performance as well. Now, this does include a more responsive car overall, some quicker revs, and the car will feel like it's pulling through those gears a little bit faster thanks to the reduction in mass from that flywheel. Now, how much performance you feel out of a flywheel swap will directly correlate with just how light you go. Now, for instance, some options like the Ford Performance Billet steel flywheel will really not offer much in the way of weight savings, whereas options like the aluminum McLeod flywheel will cut the weight of your factory option by nearly 50%, and there will be stuff in between. So again, it really depends on just how light you want to go. Now, before we get into our first pick, it is important to point out that Ford changed flywheel fitment in 2001 from an 8 to a 6-bolt crank. And how do you know what's under the hood of your GT? Well, a quick and easy way to find out what's under the hood of that 2001 is to check your VIN number, and more specifically the 8th character or letter. Now, if you have a W in this position, then you have a Romeo engine and a corresponding 6-bolt crank. Now, if you have an X in this position of your 2001, then you have a Windsor engine and a corresponding 8-bolt crank. Now, a lot of times manufacturers will offer an identical flywheel for both 6 and 8-bolt applications, so again, just make sure you're ordering the correct one for your GT. So with all that said, what do you say we jump into our first pick? First up, we have a name everyone is familiar with, and that is Ford Performance and their Billet steel option. Now, the Billet steel flywheel really isn't going to offer much in the way of weight savings, but what it will deliver is quality materials and build, along with that SFI certification for a very affordable price. In fact, the Ford Performance 6 and 8-bolt options are currently the most affordable in the category. The Ford Performance option will accommodate most 10.5-inch clutches and some 11-inch clutch options, and will also feature that 164-tooth ring gear shown there. Now, it does feature that SFI certification, making it safe and legal for use in competition scenarios, but one thing to point out here, guys, is that it does not include any alignment dowels, so prospective buyers will need to grab a set before installing. Now, the Billet steel option will weigh in right around 29 pounds, which is far heavier than our next 2 options, and with that being said, would be a great option or choice for the daily drivers or cruisers out there who really aren't worried about all-out performance and would much rather prefer a smooth clutch engagement and easier drivability to the quicker revs of the lighter options. Up next, we have our middle-of-the-road option here in regards to weight, and that is the Exedy chromoly steel flywheel. Now, Exedy might just be the biggest name in clutches, having supplied numerous manufacturers with their OE clutches, in addition to their rather large aftermarket support as well. So with all of that in mind, it really only made sense for the company to offer a flywheel option, and that's what we're talking about here today. Now, chromoly is a great material because it's going to give you most of the weight savings of a lighter aluminum flywheel, but with more strength overall. And speaking of weight, the chromoly Exedy here is going to weigh in right around 16 pounds, with our third and final flywheel, the aluminum McLeod option, coming in right around 14 pounds. So again, not a huge difference between the two when we're talking about weight. But what is huge is the amount of weight saved over your factory option, which is going to be roughly 9 to 10 pounds overall, and that is a big difference. Now, the car is going to feel noticeably different through the revs, and that will be the same thing for our next option, but a little bit more exaggerated. The Exedy is also SFI certified and has been tested to over 18,000 RPM, and also is going to feature that same 164-tooth ring gear, but this time actually implemented into that chromoly material, which is something I really like because Some of your other options are going to utilize a separate ring gear or material, which can sometimes be a spot for failure, although it's not very common. Now, Exedy does recommend pairing their flywheel up with one of their many different Exedy clutches available on the site, and that is something a lot of manufacturers and myself will recommend to you guys at home, because when in doubt, sticking with the same manufacturer for both the clutch and flywheel will ultimately guarantee the best fitment along with the best results. Last but not least, we have the lightest of our list here today, and that is the McLeod lightweight aluminum option, again available in both 6 and 8 bolt configurations. Now, the McLeod, like our previous selection, continues to be one of the most popular of its kind when talking about material, and is one that I have great personal experience with as well. McLeod is another heavy hitter in the clutch market and is one of those companies that loves to give Mustang owners a bunch of variety when it comes to offering clutches, but also flywheels as well. The aluminum is going to be one of your lighter options in their lineup and is intended for supercharged or turbocharged applications, or as McLeod likes to say, anything that achieves rapid levels of RPM, which really can be just about anyone. As far as construction is concerned, this flywheel has been CNC'd from 6061 T6 aluminum and does feature this replaceable steel friction plate here, which is nice because it essentially allows you to freshen this thing up as needed over the years. The McLeod has also been given the SFI certification along with that 164 tooth ring gear, and it has been zero balanced to eliminate any need for counterweights or further balancing. So if going light is your #1 goal, the McLeod is going to be hard to beat and is a great choice for just south of $400. Now, before we get out of here, I do want to point out that installing a flywheel obviously requires the removal of your transmission along with a few other components to gain access. So because of this job might not be for the first-time renters out there. However, if you know your way around the garage, you should definitely be able to tackle this one in a few hours from start to finish, maybe a full day depending on your setup and just how fast you like to work. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up our best of video for the flywheel category, again available for that New Edge GT. Now, if you did want any more product information on any of the flywheels listed in this video, in addition to some customer reviews, feel free to check out the respective product pages at any time. In the meantime, I'm Justin. Thanks for watching, and for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.